Cool. All right. Thanks for this short interview. Tell me something about yourself, your function, and what your company does for autonomous driving.
Sure. My name is Vincent. I'm a product manager at TomTom Automotive. I joined TomTom about 2 years ago. As part of the product management team, we're a bit, let's say, in the overlap or intersection of what on the one hand our technical teams develop. We call them product units. And on the other spectrum of the organization is sales. So we're closely, I think, to internal development, but also to the market, customer meetings, and understanding what their needs are, and communicating that back into or out of the organization.
Yeah. All right. And so you're closely related towards the innovation projects of TomTom in autonomous driving as well, and a bit more on the sales side and the marketing side. So how does TomTom see its roadmap for developing its autonomous driving right now in this moment?
Yeah, so the way TomTom sees autonomous driving is that there are, let's say, a few different pillars or let's say growth factors, way that things that need to be there to enable autonomous driving. There is sensing, so that's the hardware, the sensors on the car, the driving policy, basically the intelligence of the car, replacing just as the brains of a human driver, and then there's mapping. TomTom focuses on, obviously, the mapping part, right? Yeah. So we're not into building sensors, and we're also not into, let's say, developing software or AI capabilities for autonomous driving. We focus on the mapping. We launched our HD map 2 years ago. That product is set. It's being expanded. I think we have about 300K coverage right now. And the innovation of the roadmap for TomTom is mainly focused on bringing that HD map, which is just data in its raw sense, into, let's say, a ready-to-consume or a proposition that is easiest for a car maker to integrate.
Yeah. So they're trying to position themselves same as they're doing right now with the legacy car industries, where they try to provide the information for the built-in GPS systems, but then at a different angle towards autonomous driving, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of data do they use? Do they use really open public data, or is it all privately generated data that they use for this sort of stuff?
Yeah, so the HD map is built with our own mobile mapping van. So that's our material, our equipment, only let's say used and administered by us.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know, maybe 50 or 100 of these vans driving around the world, mapping basically the road for us. Everything in the HD map today is built on, let's say, our own sources.
Okay.
But in the future, I think we understand that once these HD maps get deployed, they need to stay up to date, and that's something you cannot do, or it's not sustainable to do just by yourself.
Yeah.
So we would ask also customers to feedback
information,
what their sensors observe. And then from that, basically, we kind of cherry pick, the data that we see is missing or that we need, as a, let's say, additional source, additional open source, basically.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Because the way you're positioning yourself right now is that you're trying to create a niche within this chain in mapping. And so it requires quite a lot of collaboration with other parties. So are you already in partnership with a lot of other parties that are developing right now, or is it still in a developing phase where you're still looking for customers?
So the development, maintenance of the HD map is something we do completely by ourselves. So we're not dependent on, say, other companies or partnerships for that. But then to, let's say, get this raw data into something that an AD or autonomous vehicle can actually use. Yeah. For that, we do have partnerships, right? Because we have a partnership with NVIDIA, for example, that we say, okay, our product works on NVIDIA-powered cars, basically,
sensor
machines.
Cars, yeah.
The same goes with other chip makers, but also with other sensor providers like Bosch, for example. So we say, okay, our HD map also works with Bosch. So that's the way we partner ourselves, not to develop the product, but to integrate the product.
Yeah, to create compatibility.
Yeah.
Okay, and within these collaborations, do you exchange a lot of information as well? Because I spoke to someone like Amber Mobility, and they said they have these partnerships with, say, NVIDIA, and they feed back their information to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA feeds back their information towards them, so they can build on each other's information, actually try to develop with open innovation. Is that the same sort of thing you're doing, or is it just more of a one-way street?
No, I would say that there's some collaboration that looks at, for example, if I just zoom into the Bosch example, what we announced a few months ago, we create some content in our HD map, which works really well with their radars. So obviously what you need to do there is have a two-way conversation of saying what do you need and what do we need, etc., to build that. But that really goes on a, let's say, per project or really with a specific focus.
Yeah.
Then yes, I guess we would open up, but I think in general, I think TomTom has a somewhat closed, I think, approach to their innovation of saying, you know, our content, and on a case by case basis, we would open up and disclose certain information.
Yeah, because you don't, within the collaborations, you don't see any risk of knowledge spillovers or content slipping away during the collaboration.
Yeah, no, so
because you've got everything in control, and it's more modular than actually collaborating in that sense, right?
Yeah, well, it's if we collaborate on something, we are really, let's say, careful or specific in what we disclose and what not, because, as you know, I think one of the main competitors for TomTom is here, owned by 3 large German car manufacturers, who are also kind of still our customers. So you have to be really careful, I think, in this industry of, you know, on the one hand, someone could be a customer, and on the other hand, they could also be a competitor.
How are they still also a customer for you guys?
Well, we sell other products to them. We sell products to them. We sell, let's say, real-time traffic information to them. Yeah. And then if they ask, what about your HD map? Then obviously, of course, you want to explain and you want to promote the TomTom products. But on the other hand, you're also still talking to the owners of your main competitor. Yeah. So there's a fine balance there. And I think also, if we mention companies like, say, Bosch, for example, you can be really complementary in certain areas, but actually still compete a bit with each other in other areas. So we always really try to thread the needle there, basically.
Yeah. And you were talking about the real-time traffic data and stuff. Is that also own generated data, or is that public accessible one? How do you have access to that sort of data?
So if you want to view the data, you can go to mydrive.tomtom.com. But it is our own data. It's data, or it's a traffic information service based on real-time data from GPS traces. That's a community of more than 500 million devices globally, and we get that data back from our customers. So the business model is we sell a service, we get back the information to help build or improve the service.
Yeah, it's similar like how Google does it with Google Maps, I presume.
Yeah, well, with Google Traffic, yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay, clear. So you're positioning yourself right now to be one of these leaders in mapping. Are you already partner up with a couple of companies for actually? Yeah, I don't know what partnerships are actually going on right now.
Yeah, so we have a lot of companies that have just shown interest in our HD map. I think we've provided more than 50 companies with a sample, actively working, I think, with a few OEMs, some disclosed, like Volvo, for example, or Renault, some not disclosed. And also with technology companies like, say, NVIDIA or Qualcomm, we also have collaborations in specific areas.
Yeah. So you're starting off quite closed off with the information sharing, and you're actually seeing the future of how it will develop. It will be more of an open platform with everyone sharing their own information, or how do you see this strategic? Do you see a shift in this happening? Because now you're still in a place where you're trying to maybe have this first mover advantage as being the leading mapping company, but do you see this actually capitalizing in long term as well, or does this become one open platform after a while?
No, I don't think we would move to an open platform. I think the technology is too, I think, sensitive to do that. Maybe other domains besides the mapping pillar in autonomous driving could do that, but I think for ourselves, we'd like to collaborate with a lot of partners, but I don't think we would throw open our data, basically, because that's what we are, right? We're a content-driven company, so we need to preserve that.
Yeah, clear. Okay, one thing I'm sort of interested in how you look at this. There's this theory where they say that there's a lot of open data available, and people are trying to utilize open data and open innovation, and then fence off once they get an algorithm or whatever out of it, and it's actually killing the whole idea of open innovation. Well, in your sense, you're not really utilizing a lot of open data in this sense, so it might not be your case, but in other instances where you see Uber and Tesla using some open data, they're actually doing the same sort of concept. Do you see this as something that's actually quite dangerous to do, or this is just the way the world works right now, and privatizing open data is the way it will happen always.
Why would it be dangerous?
Well, it's not dangerous in that sense, but it's sort of contradictory to the theory that open innovation builds on each other and increases speed of innovation. And because of this, you actually see a slowdown of the innovation process itself, because everyone's like 5 parties are doing the same stuff with the same data. Instead of sharing it, they're actually all keeping the information to themselves.
Yeah, I think okay, I understand what you mean. I think from a maybe society perspective, right? Open innovation, everyone collaborating and being friends would be better.
Yeah.
But this is a really competitive market. I think everyone sees a lot of value to be captured, and they want to capture it themselves. So they're trying to learn as much as possible from other companies, but not share their own knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
So
because what you do see within these partnerships is some parties like Tesla and Uber try to internalize everything, and you have a somewhat semi approach where you try to find your own niche, but still collaborate, share a lot of information. And a lot of OEMs and legacy car makers, they're sort of late on the bandwagon of autonomous driving, and they try to catch up by doing a lot of partnerships, collaboration, and in that sense semi-open innovation to speed up. Are they already on par with the Uber and the Tesla, or they're still a lot of steps behind in compared to those parties?
Yeah, I think I would say they are behind. I really think to be leading or differentiating in this market, that you need to develop these things yourself and create a unique proposition that cannot be mimicked, rather than saying, "Oh, we're going to partner and put everything together," but then what is specifically the value that you add? If that's not clear, I don't think you're going to be earning, let's say, capturing a lot of the value.
But you do see some increase in speed in how they're developing the autonomous driving compared to, say, a Tesla and Uber right now, right?
Yeah,
they're like catching up to them, right? Or not yet?
Could you give an example?
Well, I don't know. It's more of a question. But seeing as Tesla and Uber, I think mainly Tesla was one of the first ones who actually tried to implement it, patching up to their cars, having their own system of cars generating data and actually doing everything. And now you see a lot of, and later there came interest from the car makers, and they were actually saying, okay, we need to partner up with instances that are specialized in every aspect of, like you were saying, the sensor data, the AI training, and the mapping, etc. And because everyone is partnering up and they're all sharing information, it seems like their way towards autonomous driving is actually speeding up. So in that sense, their sort of open innovation is actually speeding up the development process in this regard.
When I see partnerships announced, I'm also really wary whether they're really working together and sharing a lot of information, or it's just marketing saying we work with this awesome company, we're also an awesome company. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people, a lot of companies are really still, there's still a lot to be done, a lot to be learned basically, and a way to, let's say, position yourself as the leading company is through partnerships. Saying, oh, we work with this leading company, hence we are also a lot of far. That's what they try to message to the market. So I'm always a bit skeptical when I see all these collaborations ongoing, how much knowledge sharing there really is. But I also think that it's the only way to move forward, right? To work together. But I think this whole you tell me what you know, and then I'll tell
you what I know.
Is what everybody's doing, or as much as possible. And it could probably slow down innovation than if we would all openly work together. But I think everyone's just trying to protect their own.
Because you already see these collaborations failing in some instances. Like Tesla started up with, I don't know which company it was, but one of the sensor companies, and after 1 year or something, it broke up, and they just took all the knowledge from the sensor, and they're building their own sensors right now. Right? So that's the sort of risk in these knowledge spillover happening with these collaborations, and that's exactly what you're saying. It's obvious it's going to happen, and it's so sensitive data, and depending which segment of autonomous driving you're doing, it might be able to do a bit more sharing, the others a bit less. But still, it's funny to see, like, the development itself is actually, there's more happening towards the car maker sides of autonomous driving right now. If you see what's releasing in the last year, then what's happening on Uber side and Tesla side, it seems to be slowing down in that sense, and there's like a catch up on the legacy car makers in this sense.
I understand what you mean. I think indeed, let's say maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, car manufacturers were thinking, we build the car, so we will build self-driving cars. And then there's a whole range of other companies. You mentioned Tesla, right? They are a car manufacturer. From the other side, you can say they're a technology company who happens to make cars.
Exactly, yeah, fair enough.
And I think it's true that these OEMs, they saw this, they recognized the threat, and they said, hold on, if we don't really work with these technology companies, we're going to, play catch-up.
We're going to miss the train, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think indeed that kind of shift happened a few years ago, and that the OEMs really understand they have to work or even acquire these technology startups because they're more and more moving towards a mobility company or a technology company or producing cars on wheels than cars with combustion engines.
Yeah, it's really moving away from that.
Yeah.
Okay, clear. I think that's actually more or less all I had to have for you. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.